So students, today we are going to discuss about the magic bullet or hypodermic needle or stimulus response theory. These are the three names given to the same theory, which is one of the very popular theory of mass communication. So I am Dr. Tasha Singh, taking your lecture over magic bullet theory from School of Media and Communication Studies, Galgotias University. Let us have a quick recap. In the last lectures, we studied the classical theories of communication, and in the classical theories of communication, I discussed authoritarian theory, I discussed libertarianism or free press theory, social responsibility theory, Soviet media or communist theory, development communication theory, and democratization or democratic participant media theory. I hope you have exercised the questions which were given as practice for these theories. So today in the topics that we are going to cover for the magic bullet theory is the concept in hypodermic needle theory, the features of hypodermic needle theory, the example of hypodermic needle theory, and the criticisms of the hypodermic needle theory. I hope you will enjoy. Just keep your notebook ready, keep noting down the keywords so that you can understand what this theory is all about. So student, here is a short video to understand how the hypodermic needle theory works and what is the technology behind that.
Welcome to Media in Minutes, where I talk you through important concepts in media and communication. Today we're talking about the hypodermic needle theory, which was one of the earliest ways of thinking about how the mass media influences audiences. It was developed in the 1920s and 1930s after researchers observed the effect of propaganda during World War I and events like the Orson Welles War of the Worlds broadcast. The hypodermic needle theory is a linear communication theory which suggests that media messages are injected directly into the brains of a passive audience. It suggests that we're all the same, and we all respond to media messages in the same way. This way of thinking about communication media influence is no longer really accepted. In the 1930s, many researchers realized the limitations of this idea, and some dispute whether early media theorists gave the idea any serious attention at all. Nevertheless, the hypodermic needle theory continues to influence the way we talk about the media. People believe that the mass media has a powerful effect. Parents worry about the influence of television and violent video games. News outlets run headlines like, "Is Google making us stupid?" and "Grand Theft Auto led teen to kill." So how did this way of thinking about the mass media develop? Back in 1927, Harold Lasswell, an American political scientist and communication theorist, published a book called Propaganda Technique in the World War. Writing about the effect of Allied propaganda during World War I, Lasswell wrote, "From a propaganda point of view, it was a matchless performance, for Wilson brewed the subtle poison which industrious men injected into the veins of a staggering people until the smashing powers of the Allied armies knocked them into submission." The Paine Fund studies, which were conducted between 1929 and 1932 and looked at the effect movies have on children, also contributed to this idea that the mass media has a powerful and direct influence on audiences. Although these studies have been criticised for their lack of scientific rigour, they were really one of the first and most comprehensive examinations of how the media works. Writing about the influence of movies, the project chairman W. W. Charters wrote that they have the potential to profoundly affect the way that children behave. Even in the 1930s, however, researchers were starting to realise that this way of thinking about media influence was kind of inadequate. Then, in 1938, Orson Welles and the Mercury Theatre broadcast a dramatisation of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars. The battle which took place tonight at Grover Mills has ended in one of the most startling defeats ever suffered by an army in modern times. 7,000 men armed with rifles and machine guns pitted against a single fighting machine of the invaders from Mars. 120 known survivors. The rest strewn over the battle area from Grover's Mill to Plainsboro, crushed and trampled to death under the metal feet of the monster, or burned to cinders by its heat ray.
The program, which was presented in the format of a news bulletin, caused some listeners to believe that the Earth was being invaded by Martians. The New York Times claimed that thousands of people were gripped by mass hysteria. While thousands of people may have been panic-stricken, they were only a small proportion of the 6 million people who enjoyed a quiet night around the radio. On the surface, events like these seem to suggest that the media can have a powerful influence on audiences. Nevertheless, the hypodermic needle theory is kind of inadequate to describe the process of communication and media influence. It just doesn't work.
So the concept of hypodermic needle theory is the popularization of mass media along with the increase in advertising industry or the propaganda have affected both positively or negatively on audience. It is dangerous as a huge mass is influenced directly at the same time. Messages injected can have the desired response which can cause problems and destructions on rule and uniformity. Audience cannot exist and resist the received message from media, and it creates a uniform thinking amongst the people. A fixed mindset and perception is created. Even a single piece of information can cause many brain alterations and change opinion subconsciously. Public is taken to be vulnerable as message is always infused and media is tremendously strong. The theory believes that there are no other sources of media or alternative media to compare the media's message. Media is the strongest at the time of crisis and in the time of war when people depend on media for all the information. The theory was said to be used in the Second World War by Germany and US. The theory is said to be based on the assumption and not empirical findings. It is based on the supervision and the supposition of human nature or biological nature. External stimuli are considered to encourage instincts and reactions. People's Choice is a study conducted in 1940 by Laserfield about the election campaign of Franklin D. Roosevelt, who found that the only specific message are injected to the audience by media. People are more influenced by interpersonal communication. So students, you can, after explaining the concept, you could have make out that since the time 1940s, 1930s was a time of limited media exposure. People did not have multiple options to go to various platforms to fetch out the news, and hence that the thing that has been given to them, that has been induced to them through media was hitting as a bullet in their minds and was being fixed, and it was generating an opinion, it was generating an alteration in the mindset, in the thinking. So now if you talk about the magic bullet theory, you would say that in this digital age the relevance would change, because now we have got so many options. We have interactive media, which is social media, where you can also react, you can also put up your opinion, and you have various platforms to cross check whether the information is a propaganda or it's really a real fact. Okay, so this will be discussing in the coming lectures, in the coming slides, but let us now focus over the features of hypodermic needle theory. Humans are believed to act uniformly to the stimuli and instincts. Media injects or inserts messages into the people's brain as propaganda, and manipulations like that by a bullet or a syringe. Message have their own intention and are sent to get desired outcomes. The effect of message is supposed to be encompassing, strong, immediate, and dangerous. Message are supposed to create public opinion, change behavior of the audience. Mass of people is made to think in a similar way by the media, and the audience is always thought to be vulnerable and passive. Now, these are the key features of the hypodermic needle theory. It says that the audience is vulnerable and passive. Passive in the sense he cannot give the feedback. He is passive, he is not active. The active is the sender, which is sending its message through the channel, which is the media and different medium, and the audience is in passive stage. Plus, since a lot of people are exposed to same media at same time, like if there's a program being aired on the television, so there are so many people who are watching that, so automatically a large mass, a large group of people is being influenced and is being forced to think something in similar pattern. You can just take a simple example: open the news channel every day, you would find so many news programs, debates, symposiums coming. Now there are many like us who are watching the same channel, and there is a hidden agenda that is being propagated through that media channel. So when we watch, and if we talk, if the same people who have watched the same program, let us have a focus group discussion with them. Once you will find that in the focus group discussion, everybody will be having the thinkings on the similar line. Why? Because they are watching the same program and they are also assimilating in the similar way, because it is being presented to them in the way that alters or brings a kind of a similar opinion, similar opinion in the brains of the audience, right? So these are the features of the hypodermic needle theory. Now, when we talk about the examples of hypodermic needle theory, we could find that in the Second World War, the German leaders used movie industry to show their power in the world and unify the people of war in 1940s. Later, US also used their own movie industry to create negative image of the German and portray them as evils. You all remember about Hitler, then from Italy you remember about Mussolini, then from Russia you would remember about Lenin. So all these were representatives of their country, and they had a very active role in the World War. So when you talk about them, how do you know them? You only know them through media, because there are many films based on them, there are many books based on them, there are many short documentaries based on them, and when you see those documentaries you develop a perception. We all say that why do we call anyone Hitler in good sense? No. If I am saying that that person is Hitler, it means that you are trying to say that he is very shrewd, he is very rude, and he will be dictator by nature. So if I want to know about somebody whom I want to, like if somebody is taking a feedback of XYZ person, and if I want to represent that how is he, so I would simply say that he is the reincarnation of Hitler. So you could understand that what I meant. So the idea behind giving this example is that through media a portray of a personality was being developed. When Germany was using it for their propaganda, US started putting them in the negative light by using their movies where Hitler was shown to be very ruthless, right? Apart from that, the gender role concept has been injected in every person's mind, like women must be, how do you think of women? You think a woman should be tall, she should be thin, she should be fair, and she should be very glamorous. Then the brain takes information from the advertisements and changes in our opinion. What we see in the advertisement, we all see the models are so beautiful. So whenever you consider women, you have this kind of a pre-set or conceived notion in your mind that the woman has to be tall, beautiful, and thin, fair. So these are some attributions which you attach to a personality. So how this has come? This has come because you are finding that on media there are always beautiful females which are being presented. Do you see ugly faces? No, you don't. But now times are changing. But this is the time this theory has been developed in 1913 and 1940s, and therefore it is being talking about the gender perception that was being developed by media. So this is another example that you have, that media has been changing the self-image of every person. You talk about men, so there is a cliche for men: a man should be tall, dark, handsome. What is this? It is a personality trait that has been set by the media for men. Okay. Now you can say that news is often biased and exaggerating. Why? Because there is some hidden agenda that is being served to us through media. So you always have to distinguish between the news and the non-news, and this is what is being told in the hypodermic needle theory, that in the stimulus theory, or in the magic bullet theory. These are the three names. Just remember them because you know these are commonly used and interchanged. So basically, the citizens understand what is being served to them through media, and the propaganda is always, you know, served. So magic bullet is like a syringe that, or it's a bullet, because hypodermic needle, when I say needle, so it's syringe, bullet, it's a gun. So message are being shot from the channel and it is induced directly into your brain. So this is what is the concept, and some examples of hypodermic needle theory. So there are some criticisms of hypodermic needle theory. Always, whatever theories we are reading, we will find that there are some criticisms attached to it. Now in hypodermic needle theory, the message flow is always from sender to receiver or from top to bottom. So it is something similar to the authoritarian theory, which is dictatorship, commanding in nature. Then the audience is passive and susceptible and are easily influenced by the message, which might not be true every time. So this is the another criticism of hypodermic needle theory. But the reaction of people differ. Some people can be passive, whereas some people might not believe in media. So you know, the reaction differs on the understanding of the person. We say that, you know, it is easy to fool an illiterate person than to fool a literate person. Why? Because he has his own pre-existing knowledge, and the illiterate person might not have that knowledge. So he is fresh, he is raw. So whatever message you are giving to him, he is going to accept it. Why? Because he has no existing knowledge. So this is what happens, you know, because people is a mixed group. It's a composition of literate, illiterate, marginally educational, marginally qualified, or highly qualified, or scholars. Okay, elite class, the lower middle class, the lower class, poor, below poverty line people. So you have a combination, it's a composition of people of different strata, and therefore based on their understanding they react to the message that is being given. Some people believe it, some people don't, some people partially agree to it, some people strongly agree to it. It depends on the preconceived notions and pre-existing knowledge of the person. The theory has been proved to fail by many studies, like the People's Choice research of voting behavior and political behavior during the time of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The study showed that the pattern was affected by media in minimum amount, but was more affected by interpersonal communication. Studies also showed that media has selective influence on mass. So, you know, hypodermic needle theory says that media has a very strong influence. It alters the mindset. But the studies, the empirical study which was done by Franklin D. Roosevelt, says that, you know, intrapersonal communication and interpersonal communication are more effective in comparison to the mass communication which is being done through the media, and that is what is being proposed by the hypodermic needle theory. So it says no, when you know someone who is very close, like if your friend comes and says something, you will believe, the credibility factor will be high and your thought process will change. So this is the criticism of hypodermic needle theory, which says that no, what media, if something is being delivered by media, is not directly being taken in the same stage and state by the audience. Then the theory is not taken as empirical, that is verified by observations or experiments, but it is just based on assumption. So this is also one of the major criticisms for the hypodermic needle theory. And there are many media options. With the growth of media outlet today, the theory is not applicable in today's world, because you know now we have social media with us. You put something which is wrong, you put something which is not truth, and you will immediately get the reactions from the audience. You will be boycott, you may be blocked, you may be trolled over the social media if you try to put up your bigot thinking, or if you try to influence out of some propaganda or some pre-planned strategy. So these are the criticisms of hypodermic needle theory, and it has been clearly stated that in today's time hypodermic needle theory doesn't hold much relevance because we have multiple platforms to cross check the facts, logics. There are so many training programs running around over media literacy to understand and how to conceive the media messages that is coming, how much should you believe to it, how you should react to it. All these things are being taken as an important part of the curriculum. Also, the students are being sensitized towards news. You have to understand, you have to analyze, and then come to a conclusion that yes, what is being told is true. Should I believe to it? Should I follow it? Should I adhere to it? Or you should go on, you should leave that thing as behind, as this is something which is wrong. Okay, so this is how the criticism of the hypodermic needle theory works. Now students, over here I have a research paper which is given by Nobus and Okunwo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but the spellings you could see there in the reference, cited in APA Style 6th edition. So this is a research paper which is entitled as Rethinking the Bullet Theory in the Digital Age, which is very relevant because just now we studied in the criticism that in today's world the hypodermic needle theory or the stimulus theory or the magic bullet theory doesn't hold any more relevance. So this is a paper which is published in 2019 in the International Journal of Media, Journalism and Mass Communication. I quickly want to discuss the key points of this paper with you all so that we can understand that what is the current scenario and how we should rethink the magic bullet theory in the digital age. So this study examined the relevance of magic bullet theory called the hypodermic needle theory in the digital age. It adopted the qualitative approach in exploring the following objectives, that is examining the basic tenets of magic bullet theory, analyzing the arguments against the magic bullet theory, and examining the relevance of magic bullet theory in the social media age that I just mentioned before you. The analysis was premised on two key issues which were spread by social media. There are so many key issues or issues that are being nowadays trending in social media. They have focused only on two of them. The one is the monkeypox killer vaccine incident of October 2017 and the salt water bath incident of August 2014 during the Ebola virus outbreak that year. So the study established that the magic bullet theory was still relevant today as audience react in an actively passive manner and to certain media content, and the study found that what could be described as the zombie effect, that is the reaction to specific media content by audience in the digital age, supporting the credence of the magic bullet theory in the digital age. The study recommended that further studies on magic bullet theory using other issues so as to further establish the relevance of this theory in digital age, contrary to the postulations that the theory is no longer relevant in contemporary society. See, so students, this is altogether a different perception that is coming before us, because just now in the criticism it was said that it has got no relevance, but this paper says that yes, it has, and somewhere it has coined it as zombie effect because there are some media content which affect people even in the present digital age. So we will find out what are the key findings of it. So the statement of the problem for this particular paper was that information communication technology, which is ICT, have changed the face of communication. The emergence of the new media has provided the audience with diverse channels of information reception and assimilation, as I have been telling you about it. So this is invariably coming with diverse influence on the audience. The bullet theory or the hypodermic needle theory implied mass media had a direct, immediate and powerful effect on the audience. The theory suggests that mass media could influence a very large group of people directly and uniformly by shooting or injecting them with appropriate messages designed to trigger a desired response. However, several scholars led by Laserfield countered this theory as having a wrong impression of media effects on the audience. New assessments that the magic bullet theory was not accurate came out of election studies of the People's Choice, which Laserfield, Beresell, and Godet performed in 1944 and 1968, and the opposing scholars opinioned that the media do not have an all-powerful effect on the audience, but that the audience had the power to make decisions on how to utilize the media content. So this statement of the problem is that the Laserfield study says it doesn't have any effect, but the study which was done by them showed that yes, there is an effect. So the statement of problem was to actually check whether the relevance of the magic bullet theory still exists or it has surpassed because of so many media platforms which are there with us with the help of ICTs, that is information, communication and technology. So the basic objectives of the study are mainly studying social media in the age of, studying magic bullet theory in the age of social media, and they wanted to examine the basic tenets of magic bullet theory, analyze the arguments against the magic bullet theory, examine the relevance of magic bullet theory in the age of social media. So these were the three objectives which were developed by the scholars. You can understand, students, when you also take up a research, this is how you can develop the objectives. This is called as UK style, this is called as US style of developing the objectives, because these are one line statements using action verbs like examine, analyze. Again, examine has been given over here, but you have many other action verbs like to find, to study, to read, to understand, to analyze, to identify, to learn. These are the various action verbs which could be used by you when you develop your objectives. Apart from that, there is another style which I just mentioned, that is UK style. So there are two styles of writing the objectives. One is the US style, the other is the UK style. In the UK style, you mention complete paragraphs, and in the US style, you give one line statements for the objectives. Of course, you make the use of action verbs even in the UK style, but you actually kind of elaborate your objective and write a one full paragraph over objectives, or that could be only one objective which you have elaborated in one full paragraph, then the next objective in the other paragraph. So this is how the UK and the US style differs in writing the objectives. Students, I have given the link, that is the link of this particular paper. You can follow the complete paper, but since we have time limitations in a presentation, I cannot read the entire paper before you. I discussed the key objectives, the abstract, the statement of the problem, and now I'm going to discuss with you the conclusion which was given by the authors of this particular paper out of the study of the two incidents which I mentioned earlier. So deriving from the effort discussion, the study concluded that the bullet theory still holds significance in the digital age, since the audience members actively decide which social media to use, and depending on the nature of the story, passively react to the content they are exposed to. The bullet theory may not be predominant, but should not be completely declared non-existent, as the issue used in this study showed. The social media has also widened the scope of human interaction and make for user-generated content and social presence. This adds to the powerful effect of media depending on the issue involved. Further studies on bullet theory are recommended here using other issues for the analysis. This is to further establish that the relevance of magic bullet theory in the digital age, especially with the advent of social media, is very much relevant and existing. So let us have a quick summary of our lecture today. The hypodermic needle theory, which is also known as magic bullet theory, hypodermic syringe model, or the transmission belt model, was promulgated by Harold D. Lasswell. You remember Harold D. Lasswell, who has also given us a model of communication in 1920s. It was written in this book, Propaganda Techniques in the World War. The theory is a linear model of communication. We also discussed in the previous lectures what is linear model of communication, and talks about the media's power on audience. The message in this theory is said to be like magic bullet, which enters the minds of the audience and injects a particular message. This theory explains how media controls what the audience view and listen to, and the effects which can be immediate or later in future. The word bullet and needle are used to show that the powerlessness of the audience as media impacts public opinion and behavioral change. The theory was also influenced by media behaviorism, which was given in 1930s. So this is a quick summary of the magic bullet theory. I want you all should read some more related papers on magic bullet theory and get some more findings of various authors. So I hope you understood what is magic bullet theory, why is it called as bullet, why we are using the terms like syringe and bullet, and is it still relevant or not. So with the even in the social media age it is relevant, not predominantly, but yes, there is some existence of this theory. You cannot defy and deny the complete extension of this theory. It is still very relevant to have the impact of media, because it also depends how much options you are having. When you go to the rural area of our country where you have got limited media options before you, so there we can say that yes, the magic bullet theory still exists, because the credibility that is being enjoyed by the media, especially in the rural area, is high. They see that newspapers, they read it very carefully. If something is there in the newspapers, they even go to the government authorities, quote it that on this page, on this date, this was the scheme, this was the new announcement, and now you're denying it. It means that either you are trying to get away with that, because the information which has come in the newspaper is true. So they have a high credibility. The newspapers enjoy a high credibility. Apart from that, even the radio and the television is being taken very actively by the audience. There is a high credibility of them also, but it is difficult for them to record it. So for them, newspaper is something which is more worthy, because then they keep the cutting with them, just to refer it, just to show it as a sample that yes, see, we have read this in this particular newspaper. So it is difficult to record something that has come in the news channel, or something that has come in the television, another programs, or something that has come in say the radio program which is being broadcast. So the summary is that magic bullet theory of course holds a relevance. So here we have the questions for practice. That is, what is the criticism of magic bullet theory? Discuss the criticism of magic bullet theory of communication in your own words, and why magic bullet theory is also called as hypodermic needle theory. So these are the 3 questions. Students, I hope you have understood magic bullet theory. Kindly keep them as a note, and do let me know, give me a strong feedback of how you have worked upon the questions.